Hello, hello. It's Miss Chantell. Welcome to the Miss Chantell channel, where we're going to talk about some stuff. Well, I'm going to talk about some stuff, and I hope that you, whatever you hear and learn, fact check. Always fact check. When I say fact is with a T at the end. Fact check. Okay? What you hear. We got information at our fingertips, okay? So I want to address some things because they got a lot of people on these platforms that like to get on a platform and yap their mouth about the ADOS FBA family, who we are, what we did, and our failures. Don't want to acknowledge that they're here in America solely based on the ADOS FBA family fighting for them to be here, and that we have paved the way for them to be here in every way, everything they do, from being protected, having laws, civil rights protect them, being able to go into a building and get educated, an institution and get educated, whatever it is they want to do here in America, it is because the ADOS FBA family laid the foundations for Black and Brown people in this country. And that is to always be acknowledged and respected. But the Black immigrants, sadly, they don't want to respect that. They want to come and say, we did this and we did that. Yes, you contributed. Of course, you contributed. Caribbeans, Haitians, to the foundings of the FBA family foundations in America. Of course, you contributed. But what have you established on your own? Nothing. That was all ADOS FBA people struggles that they fought very hard, an unfair fight. These people fought and still they rose. How dare you come to this country and act as if the white man just handed you some opportunity to come here and get yourself together so that you can go back home and provide for your family. That's not how it went down. You know not the history. You don't even want to respect the history when we try to tell you the truth. Therefore, becoming an enemy in the face of the ADOS FBA family. And when I say enemy, not as in we have to war with you, but we have to respect your position, which is we realize you are completely against the ADOS FBA lineage agenda here in America. And it's heard clearly all over social media. You guys are hopping on social media, coming for the ADOS FBA family, telling us we don't know who we are, trying to make our ancestors, pretending to be us, and trying to make our ancestors seem dumb, talking about we beggars because we seek economic justice, reparations. It's despicable behavior. It truly is. And so therefore Pan Africanism has been truly stumped out concerning the ADOS FBA family. I hate when these commercials come in. Hold on. Yeah, it's been stumped out. Matter of fact, let me check my volume. I didn't even check my audio to see how this working. But yeah, the ADOS FBA family has stumped out Pan Africanism based on the actions. See, we don't have to listen to the white man say, well, you know, they don't like you, huh? We don't have to listen to that. We're looking at your actions. We're looking at Black immigrants' actions. They're going around trying to clown the ADOS FBA family, but we're going to talk about that. Let me check my volume right quick before I go any further. Hold on. I hope you guys are having a good day or had a good day. It might be pretty late where some of you are right now. Hold on, let me check the volume. Sounds pretty good to me. How dare you come to the church and act as if. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. So let's get back into this. So, yeah, as I was saying, the Ados FBA family has stumped out the Pan Africanism. At one time, we was heavy into Pan African, and like I said, we used to run around, including myself, decorated and all that African stuff. we were decorated. We decorated ourselves. We wore all that African jewelry and the beads and stuff. I mean, we was proud. We showed the African people love when we saw them and came here. We was like, brother, sister, yay! But boy, they came here and they started that what they call it, that social media came out, and that was it. It was a wrap. They got to push their agendas online, and we began to see how they established when they came here and established themselves. They didn't want to do businesses with the Ados FBA family. They didn't want to, they didn't want their kids playing with our kids. It was very clear what these people was about. They were tribal. And then the Caribbeans they want to take hold of the foundings of Black America. The Africans wants to challenge the Black America. They're tribal. Who's the best African version in the world? We better. No, Nigerians better. No, Ghanaians better. No, South Africans, we the best. We got the best Joe Love. Oh no, we got the best. What? What? Really? And here it is, Ados FBA family. What we dealing with in this country, the face of evil we dealing with, white supremacist minded people we dealing with, and you coming in our faces with this kind of BS at such a time as that. But see, one thing I can say is tables always turn. You do not repay good with evil. They know that listen, Africans and Caribbeans know that the Ados FBA family accepted them wholeheartedly with open arms, invited them in, accepted them as brothers and sisters. And in turn, they found our kindness to be weakness. They want to, we're going to take what we want. We're going to take over your culture. We're going to claim it. We know it ain't ours. We know we ain't found up, but we're going to claim that. That's right. We're going to act like we know. Because people, they got more love for y'all around the world. So we're going to go around the world acting like we y'all, but we don't like you, though. Same thing with Africans. But let's get into some things. Let me read the title. I don't know if I can read my title because I'm on my phone. Got to make sure I keep my finger away from the end button, the live stream button. Okay, so I know my title has something to do with talking about uh, the fake Liberian guy who always speak as though he represent Amerco Liberians, but we're gonna get into that, okay? Because an indigenous African who pretends and masquerades to be a Liberian who's really an indigenous African cannot speak on behalf of Amerco Liberians, okay? But when they speak, the fake Liberians, the Africans, when they speak in a manner as though, it's weird. They'll be like, yeah, because, we, what are you talking about, we? You what we you people did not build that country. Why don't you be respectful and say the founding fathers or something like that of Liberia? But see, they don't want to give that kind of respect to the American Liberians who built the country. They do not want to give that kind of respect. Everything that they over there doing and walking around and all that came from via Amerco Liberians. But the little Elvis Morris cannibal child soldier, he won't admit that. He sits on a panel and spew crazy nonsense like the Liberians enslaved them. They made them indentured servants. The children that the Liberians took in, they had them being a slave to their American Liberian children. What? They say the most awful things about American Liberians. And then they speak as though the African indigenous people established this country, their country. Not their country, but establish America, Liberia, which is not their country. It's a country they stole and stole the people's identity and masquerading around the world as Liberians when they just African tribal people. Listen, this guy, Elvis Morris, the child soldier, cannibal child soldier, he comes from a tribe that hated the American Liberians, the founding fathers of Liberia, the people that established Liberia, which was American freedmen people, who was brought over to Africa by Caucasians who wanted to help them, go back home, do the return back to Africa thing, for whatever reason. Okay. Elvis tribe hated those people because upon arrival, the American Liberians, let's back it up a second. The Caucasians, the white folks, they knew the behavior of the Africans. They knew they were savagery behaved minded. They knew the things that these people do. They went and had pacts with the chiefs of the tribes and stuff. They even purchased land from them for the American Liberians to settle. They were not American Liberians as of yet. They purchased land for the freed blacks to settle. Okay. Now, I happen to believe from reading, the Europeans had a lot of hope in the freed American peoples to building the land up to be something good. Hold on a second. Here's a particular channel I like to listen to. I don't see it on here. In a second. All right. So the Caucasians had a lot of hope in the free black men of America building up that landmass in Africa. They knew the people were smart people. They built America, basically. Okay, the white man didn't do shit over there in America. It was the free black men that built up America. Okay, so they had skills. If that's what you're gonna ask, like, wait a minute, they were slaves. Did they have skills? Duh. They the ones that built everything and invented everything right here in America. Okay, and they began to each one teach one. They knew how to read and write. How you think they had established school systems over there, institutions over there, okay? But listen, They knew that the American freedmen would do a great job building up that landmass with their assistance because they agreed that they would assist them in building. They had hopes that they was going to build that place up really, really good so that they can eventually force, have somewhere to force, or even for have somewhere for other Black people to desire to want to go if the other ones are doing good over there. That was the hopes of the Caucasians concerning the American freedmen in Africa that they purchased the settlement for, or the land settlement for. Yeah. And let's get into this, right? And they had weapons, not a whole lot, but they did, supply them with some weaponry, but they didn't have the numbers. Listen, so as these people began to build and build and build, of course, the locals became extremely jealous. This stuff happens today. If anybody go to another country where there's already people that inhabit the land and they come with money and begin to build and build and build, and the people is just sitting in a ditch, living in a ditch, watching them build. And once they build and the people see this beauty before their eyes and opportunity, and you don't invite them into it, of course it's gonna be a problem. We all know this. This stuff happens today when foreigners go to other, I read an article a long time ago about locals and their feelings about rich people, the young white rich kids going to their countries and splurging and just having a ball, and the locals was like, that is so ridiculous because they know that we're poor here and they don't even come to the communities and make a donation or anything. They just come and enjoy our beaches and our resorts, but they don't even care that they got hungry, starving people that's really doing bad. And the locals find them to be selfish low lives that doesn't care about anything but themselves. So just imagine if the people actually relocated there and began to build a settlement there, the locals will be even more mad to the point violence will come about. And that's what happens when people go to places that's inhabited already and begin to build up a settlement. Um, you're gonna have some problems. Why do you think in one of those African countries, the Asians, I think it's the Chinese built up a whole beautiful, beautiful city. Oh, it's luxurious. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know I forgot what country that is, but I mean, they built it up like it's wonderful. The people who was there at first, they literally, and I mean literally, was pushed in a dirt ditch on side of the city that the Chinese built. They live in a dirt ditch. I kid you not. Not some shack. They literally live in a dirt ditch on side of the luxury, town or city, whatever you want to call it. And the Asians there who plan to move there and take over Africa, well, starting with one country at a time, they're doing their thing because some of them working on this country and some of them working on that country. They got plans for Africa, baby. The Asians got plans to take over that place. Talking about recolonizing, huh? People got plans. They done bought up half of Africa already. That's why Trump offered the presidents of Africa to come have that meeting with him and discuss getting rid of the Asians in a country. But it's too late for that. A lot of them then grab hold of a lot of land in Africa. Okay. They even had in one country, I saw some Chinese um, electrical engineers. They were teaching Africans how to put electricity through the buildings that they built and teaching them a skill. So, again, this helps things to be a little bit more peaceful when a takeover begin to happen. Because if the Chinese are saying we're going to show them how to do this and they're going to think we like them, you know, and so we got to show them how to do this and do some little nice things for them or whatever, give them a skill, show them how to do something. And that way they won't be so um, angry or something like that. They can take that skill and go try to build something somewhere or do something with it. You know what I mean? But if we don't help them in any kind of ways, they're gonna they're gonna stay up all through the night retaliating, you know, trying to find out how they can retaliate against us because they are extremely jealous of the success they see before their eyes. So the Chinese begin to take a lot of the men there and teach them how to, you know, put electricity wires and stuff through brand new buildings and all of that, and teach them how to build and all that kind of stuff like that, right? And the Africans was in love with the Chinese men. They were like, they were so happy. They were truly happy and thankful for somebody coming there, giving them work and teaching them a skill. So, um, as I was following, I went back to check it out, and the Africans was like, yeah, you know, these people are the best people for this country, for Africa, you know, that particular country. They was like, these people are the best people for this country. Nobody else. The white man hasn't done anything for this country. The black man hasn't done it. The Asians, the Chinese have really helped us, they were saying. Okay. They had to do that in Sierra Leone too, because when they settlement they begin to build up their settlement. The locals begin to constantly burn down their settlement, constantly. Okay, so what they did, they had to befriend them and give them little gifts or whatever, to get them off their butt because they kept messing with them. They were jealous, and so eventually, I guess they let them partake in some things, but that never happened in Liberia. Okay. Um, the Liberians dealt with the children, the babies, but not with the adults and stuff. That was no. But let me finish this Chinese story. And so, anyways, if you're gonna build a settlement there, you have to have protection. It has to be your number one thing above all things. If you go into another place where there's already and people inhabiting the land there already, you're going to have protection because they are going to get jealous as you grow, as your settlement, your little space begins to grow. They're going to get jealous. They're hey. So the Chinese there in that African country, they put up a military base for their military that they plan to have for that particular area that they are coming to take over. And that makes sense. There's a lot of different people in African countries that have military forces with them. It may not be large, but they got weaponry and fighters with them. Because trust me, none of them trust the African men like that. Okay. They all think they're savages, to be honest. They all think African people are savages. So when they come, they may not show up with their guns, you know what I'm saying, forefront center where everybody can see them. Oh, but they're packing. Believe it, they're packing. Okay. And that's what the Europeans pulled on the American indigenous. They pulled up in them ships, played the role of a friend for a while, learn the land, let them teach them the land. They became indentured servants to the Europeans. I mean, to the Native Americans. Some of them Europeans became indentured servants, playing a fake role, just to learn the land and stuff. When they learned the land and the people, because they were indentured servants to the people, they were allowed to be among the people, learn the people. And when time came, they sent home for some more people. They showed up, pulled up in their boats with those guns they was packing. But of course, they wasn't, out front. Ooh, somebody is screaming, shout. But of course, the guns wasn't before the eyes of the people because that would have been a threat. It was in their little boats and stuff. They not little boats, but in their boats and stuff. And when the time was right, they came out with their guns blazing and did the takeover. We ain't your effing friend. Can you imagine the Native Americans? They were like, "What we what?" It's like being in a relationship, sleeping with the enemy. You don't even know this person is your enemy because they befriending you. And see, that's something the ADOS FBA family got. Ooh, oh my gosh, when it comes to my people, oh, they get tricked up so easily because they're so welcoming or something like to other groups. But I think that we're learning not to do that anymore. I don't care that you're a hip hop fan and you a rapper. Stay over there with it. Eminem was found to be saying something like, "Black women are dumb and white women are smart." Somebody tried to blackmail him with a recording of a song he made before he became famous. And Dr. Dre, who put him on the map, who brought him into the game, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know he had said or made a record like that. I would have never dealt with him." He said, "I dealt with him to make somebody else mad," which was Tupac. Because Tupac was that. He wasn't on that, "Oh, you're going to bring a white boy into this game? What?" So he was shocked that he had said that. They were shocked when they realized Justin Timberlake was like that. When they realized that, what's the other white boy name? Justin Bieber, drawing pictures of monkeys dressed in hip hop stuff and being racist, saying racist stuff. Just because they rap and they come into your mix talking about, I'm a rapper and this and that. What? And by the way, it's mostly men who does that. That's accepting, so accepting. It's mostly men. It's never really women. Women are the protectors of their race, their ethnic group, their heritage, their lineage. Women protect it to the fullest. They don't easily allow people in like that. It's the men that's a little bit more open than the women. See, some men respect their women. Some groups, race or ethnic groups we're speaking about, they respect their women. So they wouldn't dare bring a bunch of black women in onto their women like, "Oh, these are the better version of women for us." Like, how dumb is that? But maybe their men were not destroyed during slavery, mentally destroyed, because our men we have to understand, suffer greatly with inferiority complex. They got them to the point they're afraid to have black babies. They feel like in order to be successful, I need to have a non-black woman on my arm with mixed children. Those are the ones that's aiming for American success or to go around the world and not be seen as black, fully black. But then we got some of our brothers that is standing on their square, strong and loving themselves. And they're not chasing a white man's anything. So they are happily married to black women and procreating with black women. Okay. I happen to believe if you marry outside your race concerning a black woman or a black man, then you must go to the people that you're marrying into. Don't bring it back to your people. Wherever you found your wife is where you stay. Wherever you found your husband is where you stay. And that way we don't have any issues. That's my personal opinion. But let's get back to the topic at hand. So back to Liberia. Um, and the Elvis Morris child soldier cannibal dude from Liberia that masquerade as a Liberian, but he's from an African tribe. His tribe, and I want you to remember that Liberians are descendants of freed Black American people. They did not intermix with the local tribes. They saw them as savages because upon arrival, they had to stop these people from killing each other for fun, sacrificing each other to pagan gods, and kidnapping other Africans and selling them to any foreigner they saw in sight. They had to fight with them to stop them from doing this stuff. Okay, and so that was the beginning of despising the Americo Liberians. That was the beginning of it. The relationship started in that way, which meant, oh, you coming here to try to control us. You're going to fight against what we normally do. So, okay. So, see, it started off, you know, let's like, I hope my music not too loud. It started off that way. And so let's roll, because I want to get through this, because I also want to mention Haiti. I did a lot of research on Haiti today, looking into it and stuff, because, I hear these Haitians popping off a lot on the panels about the ADOS FBA family. We're going to get into all this stuff that they're talking about they did concerning the purchase of Louisiana and this and that and that. Because upon my researching, I found nothing as in NOTHING at all. I did find something, my fault. It was more of the Creole Haitians running every damn thing, not the African descent Haitians. But we're gonna talk about that after I finish up this Americo Liberian babble. Okay, listen. So, okay, I told you guys that Elvis people, his people were the people that the Europeans employed. They had a business relationship with the Europeans. The Europeans employed these particular people because they had them sailing the boats up and down the coastline, stockpiling the Africans, the kidnapped Africans on the boats. And when the boats sailed to different destinations, they also went with them because it was only few Europeans, right? And people always be thinking, how come they didn't break loose and beat the crap out of those Europeans and be free? I don't understand. Well, listen to this here. The people, Elvis people, they stockpiled the people up. They hated each other in Africa. I always tell you they hate each other. They still got hatred towards each other. But listen, his people took the trips to the destinations where the slaves were being brought because their purpose on a boat, they were employed on a boat. Their purpose on a boat was to was to feed the slaves on a boat, those that were in chains and enslaved. They would go to slop something in their mouth and splash some water in their mouth to keep them alive because, you know, they needed them to be alive. And they fed them. They protected the Europeans on the boat from any Africans that thought about breaking loose and attacking. And number three, they made sure made sure none of them escaped. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's how the Europeans usually did it. They would employ one tribe of people or two to go out in forces and work for them, whether they be kidnapping Africans or whatever. Okay. And so it's a beautiful night tonight. It's a little breezy and it's beautiful. So this is what this guy's people did. Okay. Let's fast forward and move a little quick through this. The American Liberians arrived. They had some dealings with these people where they had fights. They had to stop these people from doing the crazy stuff they were doing, just acting like savages, selling each other, killing each other, just doing all eating each other, all kind of stuff. And so um they had to try to stop them from doing such things. Okay. So the Liberian, they call themselves Liberians, the freed black men of America. They call themselves Liberians in Africa. Okay, Africans were not Liberians. Like Elvis is not a Liberian. He comes from an African tribe called the Crew. I just told you about his people and their part in the slave trade. Okay, so, and I told you how, his people and other tribes, the American Liberians had to fight them to stop doing such things. The American Liberians saw them as pure savages. They did not connect with them on no kind of levels, except to take their little babies, the ones who was blanket on the mind. When I say blanket on the mind, I mean the ones that can be influenced, not a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, because they probably was feeding them cannibal stuff from by now. They probably was full of that. So they wasn't taking 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds. They were taking the very babies like 6 and 7. You understand what I'm saying? Again, I want to remind you, Elvis spoke against the Amerco Liberians plenty times. I called him out. That's why he threatened to literally eat me raw, because I called him out plenty times on this, saying terrible things about the Amerco Liberians, talking about they enslaved the people. And when I was like, that's not true, sir. Or well, they made our people indentured servants. I said, well, that's not true, sir. Well, they took the kids and they made our children slaves to their children. Really? He would say the worst things about the American Liberian people. And the sad part, Carla would agree with it, knowing it wasn't true. So of course, Miss Chantell, I'm listening, I'm going, I smell snakes. Well, I hear snakes. Not smell them. Yeah, I'm sensing some slithering and hissing going on. So I began to look into things myself, of course, and lo and behold, they are such big liars. Elvis would sit on a panel with collar and no collar is lying to the fullest. But he would never say anything because he don't want to look bad by saying, Collar, that's not true. My country is shit. It's shitting all over the place. They ruined the country. He don't want to say things like that, but he will say he's never going back there ever again. Clearly, it's a bad place then to him. He would never expose Carlos' lies. I don't know if that's because he didn't want to, like, come on. This dude is promoting people go to Liberia, which is a danger zone. If you don't know the history, they kidnap people in Nigeria as well. Nigeria have a real problem with kidnapping. They be kidnapping people a lot, grown people, young people. Haiti, they have a lot of kidnappings over there too. We're gonna get into that later. So, anyways, I did some reading today though. So, anyways, the Americo Liberians built up this place. Oh, and another thing, Elvis don't like. He didn't like Gaddafi, which I think that Gaddafi did a great job building up his homeland and bringing his people together. The man had to pay his people to come together, but he said it was worth it because they had to unify in order to get things better. And he was able to do that. He said he didn't care about the money, he cared more about the people unifying and being on one page. And he had to pay those people to do that, but they did it. And for a while, they lived very good because he was able to bring everybody on one page, one agreement, and things got better for the country. But of course, after they assassinated him, it went back to nothing. Okay. He really did well by his people. But he also was an ally of Charles Taylor. And so Elvis despises the man. He would say terrible things about Gaddafi. He was beating up Liberians. No, no, sir. They were paid, Africans, I mean, they were paid to say that crap to try to make him out to look bad so that they can have reasons to go after him. Okay? Nobody is stupid, sir. But Elvis despises him and speak ill of this man because he was an ally of Charles Taylor. When Charles Taylor needed to escape and probably some funding, Gaddafi begged him, get your land back from them savages. They know not how to run the country. They didn't build that country. You did. You go get it back. Take it back. Can you imagine that conversation? Woo! I got to pause on that right quick. Charles Taylor was a bad mamma jamma. Oh, I know Elvis don't like that. He is getting hot just hearing me, lift up the Charles Taylor. Listen, he's an enemy of the American Liberian family. They stole the land and it stole the people's identity, and now they are masquerading around the world, calling themselves Liberians, which they are not. They are African, local African indigenous tribal people. I'm going to say this again, there's no such thing as a half Americo Liberian and half Liberian. The people did not mess with them. They shunned the people. They would have shunned anybody from their ethnic group that went out and brought home one of these people. Duh. They would have been like, mm-mm. So he speaks ill of the American Liberians, and women Chantel called them out for it. He got mad and threatened to literally eat me raw, right? Like as though I don't have any male families that would stump his head through the ground. Are you crazy? And this is America. Women do fight back. Okay, white, black, Chinese. This is America. Okay, I know when I see one of them Asian girls that's not born in America, they be talking like, can I get a mocha taffy button? What? Can I can I get a mocha taffy button? Okay, and we are American liberated women in this country. We don't move like that. If that's what Kyla wants, of course he has to go to Africa somewhere. But oh my gosh, I gotta play this video for you guys. Oh, it was Dennis Sperling. I gotta play this because it debunks what Kyla tried to push. Hold on, let me see if I have it up. Ooh, I hope I don't have it up. OMG. I gotta pull it back up though, because you know what? Dennis was on it, honey. Dennis. All right, let me say this and then I'm gonna get to the Dennis Sperling commentary. So I want you guys to be aware while you're talking to this guy, he is not a friend of the Ados FBA family. He's not he's a despiser, a slithering snake. And so is Kyle. Oh, and so is that full black righteous girl lady. I thought that she was Ados FBA too, but I have a feeling she's not. And if she is, maybe she's confused. Because I don't know any real Ados FBA woman that will come for Miss Chantell because I did what I had to do concerning a cannibal threatening to eat me. And she's up there appalled. You reported him? Like, what? What? That tells me everything I need to know about her. She is not one of us. If I go on any ADOS FBA panel and I say such a thing, they're going to be appalled. They're going to be like, what the freak? We're like, what? We never even heard somebody say that before in our lives. And you don't say it in a joking way either when you're from an actual cannibal tribe. But she thought, oh, he's kidding. That told me right there she wasn't one of us. The telltale sign. But I told you, a lot of these people online is cuckoo birds anyway. Um, what was I saying? Oh, I was talking about slithering snakes. These people built up the land, the country. Eventually having their leaders shot and eaten, literally ate raw, eaten raw, passed through the village. Talking about, those people have all kind of pagan stuff they do, so they feel that if they eat the person, that's how they absorb their powers. The Amerco Liberians, the rest of them fled the country, crying for white America to save them from Africa. Isn't it ironic? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? A little too ironic. Don't you really do think? Listen, you running back over there talking about Mama Africa, and you get there and you see such running from the white man. Then next thing you know, you running from the African to the white man, begging them to save you from the Africans. that you say you are. If there was Black Americans over there in Africa settlements, which they have a lot of actual ADOS FBA settlements in Africa, little settlements. If the Africans attack them, they're gonna plead for somebody, some nation, to come and save them from the Africans. Listen, I told you earlier, when you build a settlement up where there's already inhabitants, I don't care that they're Black like you. You're going to have a problem, especially if it's going to be jealousy naturally. If you're building, I mean, it's like you having a feast with hungry people next door. Duh. What do you think is going to happen? Eventually. And that's what happened in America, Liberia. They didn't want to have anything to do with the people they consider savages, and so except their children. That was their way of beginning, because the future is the children. That was their way of establishing a better future for Liberia, is to educate the local African, indigenous Africans' children. Children are the future. And so, you know, jealousy sprung up. Like I said, they took, one second. The land began to build up, the country began to build up. And like I said, they got jealous. They saw what they saw. And of course, they got jealous and envious, and they decided to take, after so long, I don't care how long it take, after so long, they decided to retaliate or take over. I told you, when you go to a land that's already populated with people and you build a settlement among those people and you begin to grow it and they start seeing good things, it's like, the analogy for that is like you having a feast with all kinds of delicious food with hungry people outside. It's not going to go smooth. Okay. That's not going to be a good idea right there. And that's what happened with the Americo Liberians. Okay. They didn't have to incorporate anybody into anything, which they didn't incorporate them. They just was helping them a little. They employed them. They had companies, white companies, come over and give them jobs as well. What they did over there with the rubber tire, rubber company and stuff like that. They had some white people making money off of them, employing them or whatever. Um, it was growing. They were helping them. They had other people there helping too. I think they had the Germans there and some other groups as well. Okay, because of the American Liberians, of course, that was their country, and they welcomed those foreigners in to come and build and establish some things there, and that'll help the country and stuff. But the local Africans, the indigenous Africans, Elvis people, they helped them a lot. Of course, they welcomed them in to have jobs and stuff. Um, Even though they helped them, they despised them to the fullest. And then eventually they took over. Took over. Okay? Y'all know the history. Go and read about it. Okay? But the point of me talking about Liberia tonight is because I want you to understand something. You talking to a person, Elvis, who despises the American Liberians. I want you to understand this. And let me tell you something. Y'all better learn how to listen and discern slithering snakes when you hear them. Because let me tell you something. A person that knows about Christianity. Oh, before I even go deep into that. Well, let me say this first. A person that knows about Christianity, the Quran, Buddhist, he's dipped into every religion. He knows about every religion there is. Is a snake to the core. Religion is something that people hold value to. When you're able to share a person's religion and identify with them through their religion, they're likely to be at ease with you because you pretending to believe what they believe in. Okay? So the people drop their guards and they're likely like, okay, this person's not so bad because they carrying on like they believe in what the people believe in. But they're actually wolves in sheep. I mean, they're actually, yeah, that's right, wolves in sheep clothing. Doesn't our scripture say the devil disguises himself as an angel? So Elvis and his people know how to do this very well. They disguise themselves as Christians. You know, when a war happened and they were not fighting against the Amerco Liberians because there was only a few of them. They were fighting tribes against tribes. What the Amerco Liberians ain't even had nothing to do with it. They had to executed the leaders and ate them. And the other ones, the remaining ones, fled the country, crying and begging white America to save them from the Africans that they say they are. Make this make sense. Make it make sense. And you telling me they got people that will go over there again after this happened? They got black people that will go over there again talking about I'm a Liberian, I'm African. After you don't know the history about America Liberia. You better learn from what happened the first time. Okay? I'm saying, like, come on now. Oh my gosh. Kyla is, Kyla Degenerate is throwed off. Okay? That man, he wants to be like Charles Taylor. He's he wants to be like Charles Taylor. And you gotta be a little risky to be like that. And he definitely risky. Throwed off risky because if you willing to go over there, marry a woman from over there in the tribe and move over there, especially after all that happened. Oh my gosh. Anyways, a person that dibbles and dabbles in everybody's religion like that is not to be trusted, sweetheart. You understand what I'm saying? That's definitely a slithering snake. And they do that because they want to identify with you through your belief system that people usually hold very close to their hearts. And when that person identified, like I said, with you through your belief system, acting like they believe in the same thing as you, and you let your guards down. I told y'all stories how I met guys in church and they turned out to be, oh my gosh, I had to run. All right. That's why it gives us word, you know, beware a good tree. The tree is the person. A good tree cannot produce bear bad fruit. Meaning a good person cannot do bad things. They won't do bad things. A bad tree cannot bear good fruit. A bad person cannot produce good behavior. They won't bring about good behavior because they're bad. And so that's why I say you don't judge a person based on their words, but their actions. Okay. I mean, he's spoken a lot and he's showed himself a lot to be an enemy of the American Liberian people. He spoke against them so much. I've called them out on it a lot. Jonathan began to call him out on things and he threatened Jonathan. He was about to threaten to eat Jonathan too. He told Jonathan, you poking because Jonathan was simply debating his talking point. And he was almost about to threaten to eat Jonathan too, but Jonathan kind of eased back. I think he was a little grossed out by the thought. But know who you talk to. You got to learn how to be listeners. Pray for listening skills. Tethering is no joke when it comes to Africans. They are heavy tethers. Man, I thought the Caribbeans was the Africans are super tethers. Listen, they done stole the people land and their identity and masquerading around the world as the people that they're not. You's a crazy MF. If I conquer a country and I conquered the country, but then me and my people gonna pretend to be the people. That's some wild stuff. That's white people stuff, by the way. And this is where they learned their behavior from. I told you his tribe of people had a relationship, a business relationship with the Caucasians, not respectful relationship, but those particular tribal people is people that the Caucasians hired to do their dirty work. And they knew how the Caucasians move. Don't you know the boats that they were stockpiling the Africans on that they kidnapped was in the name of like biblical names and stuff? They knew all of it was wrong. The Europeans pretended to be Christian missionaries. And so Elvis people and others began to put on this covering as well, like they are Christian. So after the war there, they say we gotta, clean up our image. Like the white man does. He pretends to be a Christian, even though he do all kind of corrupt stuff to people. We gonna pretend to be Christians too. So they learn how to be wolves in sheep clothing. Yeah. And let me tell you one more thing before I move along off of this conversation about the human mantra. Any man that don't know how to respect other men, you talking to another man, is a loser, is a low grade, and he's definitely not of Christ. Because a man of God is going to respect another man as a fellow brother. He going to speak in peace and be respectful because there's no reason to be disrespectful. When somebody get disrespectful, a real man of God walks away. If he can, without slaughtering somebody, he's going to walk away. But men of God do not go about being disrespectful to other men. And I've heard Elvis many times be very disrespectful to other men. Oh, that's because I know the Bible from front to back. I read it myself. So, I know what I see and what I hear. But then they got all kind of people that identify as Christians, right? That I told you they're wolves in sheep clothing. They're not really Christian because the Bible tells us these things that we look for in a person that is a disciple of Christ. I ain't judging. I'm not judging. I'm only saying what I know is biblically written, is scriptural, and it don't match up. If I see something that don't match up, okay. Plus, discernment. I wanted that to be understood. You cannot despise the Amerco Liberians. Speak against them. Despise them secretly, despise them. Slither like a snake around them and their people. Well, he can't do that to the American Liberians. They don't have nothing to do with them even in America today. They don't mess with no African indigenous Africans that call themselves Liberians. Them people are afraid of them Africans. Whew. But he trying to pull it with the ADOS FBA family. It won't work. Especially nowadays since it's all in the air delineation. And by the way, delineation does not equal we hate you. It does not equal we want to war with you. But when it comes to Africans, who has that in their mindset? I told you they're dangerous people to the ADOS FBA family because we're black. They would never mess with no other race of people. Okay? But they like to take from other black. Beware. Okay. So anyway, moving along. Oh, I just wanted to make that clear. Okay. This person, when he speaks, he's given his point of view from an indigenous African Liberian point of view, not a connection with Amerco Liberians. He does not have their point of view. If you heard them speaking on a panel, it would be completely different talk. And guess what? Elvis would be the very person to go against their talking points and call them all kinds of liars. You enslaved the people. You indentured the people. You did this to the people. Do you understand what I'm saying? He cannot speak on behalf of the American Liberians because he is not them. He speaks from the perspective of an indigenous African Liberian person. Not really Liberian, but they stole the country and the name. That's the perspective he speaks from. Remember that. He does not speak for American Liberian. And nor does Kala. Kala tries to mix the American Liberians with the African indigenous by making it seem like they were all one. What are you talking about? I don't even want to talk about him. His child, Lord him right there. The stupidity of him constantly bouncing from jumping into this. I'm 90% African. I'm Creole. I'm Cre- I'm Cre- I'm Creole. I'm I'm oh my God. Well, America is pathetic. The culture of Black America is pathetic. Well, we invented everything and we the best people on the earth. You can't get no better than us. Africans are terrible. They only bathe once a week. But let me tell you something, African families are the best. They teach those kids how to do wonderful things. They're geniuses. Do you hear the stupidity in that? Bouncing back and forth all over that. That's just so stupid and unstable. It's stupid. Moving along. Moving along. Let's talk about what I read today, though. I want to talk about Principe, the Haitians, because I happened to see an old shit video today talking about the Haitian and the ADOS FBA family and Haitian beef. I'm like, really? They got a Haitian beef with the ADOS? What? Well, anyways, I wanted to look into some things about Haiti because we have that Haitian that be on Carlos panel and Dinah's panel, and he always popping off about what Black America, what ADOS FBA should be doing, but he never pops off about what Haitians, his people, should be doing. Even in the current time of TPS about to end in a month or so. What the heck? I was interested in seeing what GPT chat could tell me about Haiti's history. And I want to share it with you guys. But first, I want to pull up this Dennis Sperling commentary today. It was on point Because we have Kyla always on the panel talking about, yeah, the brothers going over to Africa, marrying women. I'm like, who? What brothers is going? You talking about that Black American brothers going to Africa to marry? He had Frenchie up there one time talking about, yeah, your men don't want you, and I'm like, what? Are you saying? Wait a minute. Are you saying that those FBA brothers are leaving the sisters here? These beautiful women here to go to Africa for women? What? When it happened? So I called some family members and stuff, my older cousins and brothers and nephews, and they all in their latter 20s and 30s and 40s. And I'm like, yo, so they said that the Ados FBA brothers, Black Americans is hopping out of town, hopping across the border, not the border, hopping across the sea to marry African women. They're talking about Ethiopian women maybe or something. I don't know what's going. My family members like, who? Why? Marry African women? Why? Who? Ethiopian? You talking about? You talking about the people with the big forehead? What? What you? Where you getting that information from? Listen, I am an adult FBA woman, fully, both parents, grandparents, all that, all the way through and through. Okay, we have no immigrant because if they would have told us we have any immigrant lineage, I would probably claim it, baby. Okay, listen, listen. I've grown up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and all around America amongst my own people. And I can tell you, no, we are not tribal, Cadola. We're not tribal, sweetheart. I can move around all around America amongst my own kind of people, the ADOS FBA family, and be accepted, open arms, like nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't nobody talking about. They might say where you from. We're not tribal. You can say we regional. You know what I'm saying? By each regional. We regional. So the ADOS FBA family in the north might do some things a little different from us in the south, okay? Because it does have to do with the temperature and just the neighboring people around us. Like for instance, on the West Coast, the ADOS FBA on the West Coast, they they're around a lot of Mexicans and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they might have some Mexican influence there because they're around Mexicans. So you know what I'm saying? They're not like the ones in the South. You understand what I'm saying? They crip walk. In the South, we do other different things. In New Orleans, in the South, we do different things from Texas and the Texians in the South and the Floridians. Those FBA, we do a little slight different things. Yeah, so it depends on the region, the area you're from. You may find those FBA family do things slightly different, but you go and you adapt. Okay, like in New Orleans, it's completely different from the rest of America. The ADOS FBA family in New Orleans, first of all, it's a diverse group of ADOS FBA there. Okay, very diverse group. We got the swamp people. I forgot what you call them. The bayou people, like they call bayou or something like that. Yeah, the bayou people. They live in the swamps, and their lineage was from escaped African slaves. They ran to the swamps, and that's their lineage. Okay, I believe they actually begin to come out and integrate with the indigenous as well, but I'm not sure. But I do know that the bayous that live in a swamp, they're a black population. Okay, they live deep in the swamp. So you got different kinds of people there. You understand what I'm saying? One second. Okay, yeah. You got the Creoles, you got the Cajuns. They white folks, a mixture of white folks like Spanish and Irish and I think French as well. It's like the Creole white people. They have a form of Creole whites. Not Creole, well, they white people that's Creole mixed up, but they call themselves Cajuns. Okay. Their food is a little bit too much for me. Their spices is too like they what the heck? I don't know. They got a heavy hand with the spices, okay? But anyway, you got the Cajuns. When you see those white looking people, but they look not white, but white. I don't know how to describe them. Look them up. Anyways, you got so many different groups, subgroups of people there. You know what I'm saying? So um, that's my culture in New Orleans, right? And so we have we have like traditions, a lot of traditions we do in New Orleans and stuff. We heavily festive people. So when Adolph's FBA family comes to New Orleans, they turn up and they get down. You know, they adapt to New Orleans ADOS FBA people. We have a different kind of dialect too, slang, colloquial dialect as well. Our slang and colloquial dialect is completely different and unique because it's a blend of a lot of different, a lot of different races, I guess you could say. All right. So we adapt to each other as we move about around each other from region to region. We adapt. You understand what I'm saying? Um, we're not tribal though. We don't compete against each other like that. We know they had that little rap thing where it was West Coast against East Coast, and that wasn't nothing but them white folks put them brothers up to that foolery. You know what I'm saying? And they had to die that down real fast. They got it together, calmed it down. I mean, it was some killers, but they got it together and calmed it down. But there's always a slithering snake behind the whole thing. Because at first it wasn't even none of that, but somebody made nothing into something to make money off of. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, I'm not getting into all of that. I just wanted to make it understood that we're not tribal. Okay. Now I want to go into Dennis Sperling. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can find it again, but he said that the brothers ain't no passport brothers going to Africa. He said it today on his commentary channel. He said, "Ain't no passport brothers going to Africa to get no African woman." Now I knew the brothers don't mess with the African sisters, but I never knew why. I never asked my family why because nobody is concerned about no Africans. So I never asked why or nothing like that because don't nobody walk around, well, why y'all don't hook up with the Africans or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So Dennis Sperling was talking about it. He was like, because he was doing commentary on ADOS FBA women and African women going back and forth. They were trying to have a conversation, hash it out. And so the sister was like, well, our men when our men want to date you or something like that. And Dennis stopped the tape. He was like, okay, wait a minute. Let me make this clear. And I'm going to be honest. I don't mean to be offensive, but we don't have no interest in African women. And he said it was because of the body odor. Okay. And we know that foreigners have a different body odor, especially when they come to America. They're like fresh off the boat. Yeah, they do have a different body odor. We're not going to play with that. There's a completely different. It's a body odor. Okay. So, anyways, he said it was that and the features. Okay, and he was saying that the ADOS FBA women features is slightly softer than the African features. And so, anyways, he was expressing that there's no passport brothers that's going to Africa. They'll pass up Africa to go anywhere but Africa, but they're not going to Africa. That's a lie. And so he said they'll go places that's close to America, like Central America, South America, the Caribbean, the Caribbean, but they're not going to Africa. And this is how confusion gets started. Because you have immigrants pretending to be Black Americans that go about talking about, yeah, the African women are best. Of course, because you are of that country and you're pretending to be a Black American. So, duh. It's the same thing with the Caribbeans. A lot of them be like, yo, I'm going to get me a sister from the island. Right. You're calling yourself a Black American, but you're from the island. Duh. Stop calling yourself Black American and we wouldn't get this confused because the ADOS FBA brothers are not chasing down Africans and Caribbean women. They're not. It's rare to even see them with Caribbean women. And I tell you, all the women worldwide, majority, not all, they like ADOS FBA men. Period, point blank. And I can tell you they like the ADOS FBA women too, except many of them are afraid to approach the ADOS FBA women. They're intimidated by us to the fullest. To the fullest. But when they do, they get really happy. Have y'all seen the Black women, what they called it, the Black wife trending thing, married to a Black woman trending thing? Y'all remember that? How she changed that man's whole attitude and appearance from geeky to fly. We did that for our own men too. They wouldn't be fly without us, baby. They wouldn't be fly without us. Period. Point blank. The Wayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. He looked fly because he got a beautiful 80's FBA sister on his arm. Let him transfer that to something else. He lame. He won't be looking as good. You understand what I'm saying? Period. Period. Okay. So moving along, let's get into this Prince of P thing because I want him to learn something about his people. Like he thinks we can't read when he likes to dip into the ADOS FBA family Bizzo. So let's read about his people. I read a lot about it. I was really like, okay, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Let's read about it though. And before I go into the readings, though, I want you to understand this. I want you to understand this right here. I hope my music not too loud. Let's turn this down. Let me, before I go into this, um, I was about to, I don't want to lose I was about to say, one second. What was I about to say before I read into this? Hmm. I forgot what I was about to say, but let's read into it. Let's read into it, baby. I know what I wanted to say. First, let me explain what Creole is. Creole just simply Creole means mixture. Okay, I told you guys a while back when it comes to Creole language and dialect. Okay, a dialect, I'm sorry, pidgin. A pidgin language is when the colonizers colonized another people and pretty much forced them to speak their language. They had to kind of learn each other's language in order to communicate. So that language mixture was known as a pidgin language because it didn't have grammatical rules to it, something you can learn with grammatical rules, right? That's pidgin. But the minute there's grammatical rules added to that pidgin talk, and somebody can actually sit down and learn it because there are grammar rules to it, it becomes a Creole language, an official language that can be learned and taught. Pidgin language cannot be learned and taught. It's just it's something you got to pick up on. Okay. Creole language. A Pidgin language becomes a Creole language when they put grammatical rules to it. So the Haitian Creole has grammatical rules. That's why it became Creole language, because there's rules to it. You can learn Haitian Creole. Okay. There's thousands of Creole languages in the world where the conquerors went about and conquered people. And they had to learn Pidgin, and then they put grammatical rules to it. And so the languages became Creole. Go and look it up. There's many nations that conquer other nations, and, you know, new languages came about called Creole. It only if they had grammatical rules to them, Creole. And there's thousands of Creole languages out there, okay? Not just Haitian Creole. So when somebody say, "Oh, you speak Creole," you really have to be particular and be like, "What kind of Creole you speak?" Haitian Creole. But because we over here, we don't deal with a whole bunch of people in India and Asia and all them places where Creole languages exist in Middle East countries and stuff. We don't ask what kind of Creole, but when it comes to Haitians, we just like, oh, they speak Creole, but they speak Haitian Creole. All right, let's get into this. So a Creole is a mixed person as well. Creole can mean mixed language, and it also can mean mixed lineage. Okay. So a Creole person is a person that has mixed lineage. In Haiti, when the people were enslaved, not all of them was mixed with Frenchman bloodline. Majority of them wasn't. They were of African descent. They can actually trace their lineage back to Africa. They can test they're like 90% African descent. Okay? African descendant. 90%. A lot of them does not have admixture. Okay? The few of them that did were products of Frenchmen and Haitian women. Usually it's the women because the Frenchmen. They children were known as Creole. Okay, even though they called all a Haiti Creole, but really it was their children that was known as Creole. Okay, and then you had the Haitians, which was African descent, versus the Creole Haitians. You get that, Colin? Because I heard you ask what is a Creole. A Creole hate. Okay, so we distinguish this because when the Haitians fled, the Frenchmen fled to New Orleans with their Creole Haitians. They had to distinguish the difference because they already had Creoles in Louisiana. So the Louisiana Creoles had to distinguish this as Haitian Creole, and they blended with the Louisiana Creoles, and they contributed to the culture. Some of the Haitian Creoles contributed to the culture. You know what I mean? They brought some of their culture with them over there and contributed to Louisiana culture. But Louisiana Creole culture was already established and thriving. But they just blended and added some of their culture. Okay. Now, back to the Haiti. The population is Creoles that were half Haitian, French, and some of them had traces of Tiano. They call it Tiano Indian, native. And a majority of the Haitians being 90% African descent. Okay? So when I say Creole Haitian, or Haitian Creole, I mean, okay, that's what I mean. Majority of the Haitians was 90% African descent. they can trace their lineage back to Africa. In America here, we cannot do that. We cannot trace our lineage back to Africa. It's too much mixture. It's going to go through Indigenous, American, and European. And then when we try to trace it back to Africa, it's halted because the African woman bred out. Her children was bred out. You know, they were the white man's seed. Okay. So back to Haiti. A lot of them are 90% African descent. The Frenchmen put their children in charge of everything. The Creole children were in charge of everything. So they had a hand in oppressing the Haitians that were 90% African descent. When a war broke out, the Frenchmen took their children, the Haitians, the Creoles, and fled to Louisiana, leaving behind African descent Haitians. That's why I say African Haitians, okay? It's all at your fingertips. You can look it up. Jump on Chat GPT. Hit the Chat GPT and jump on there, okay? And so that's who was left behind when a war broke out because the Haitians, the African Haitians, was going war with the Creole Haitians. They were knocking them off because they were in charge of everything. Them and a Frenchman who was there. Not a heavy population of Frenchmen, by the way. But they were knocking them off. So they had to flee. Okay. So now you know the difference between the groups. Also, before I even go into reading, I'm going to tell you that there were other groups of people that had Creole lineage in Haiti that did not have mixture of African in them. Okay, they had some people fleeing the Middle East, Arabs, and they call them Syrians that fled the Middle East and went to Haiti for refugee. And those people, some of them had Haitian children, have Haitians, not a whole lot, just some. There were also Jews who fled to, who went to Haiti for whatever reason, to get away from the Nazi or something like that. And they don't have a heavy population of descendants in Haiti. The Jews did not really mix with them like that, mess with them. But the Arabs did. They have a lineage there of Creoles, like mixture of Creoles. And they put them in charge over there. They own all the, let's just read about it. I don't want to confuse it. Let's read about it. Let's learn something about Haiti. All right. I'm at the top. And so let's start at the top. Oh, I got to scroll all the way back up. Let's learn about this right quick, though. And I'm going to read you this fast because I'm getting a little sleepy. So I first asked GPT chat, I say, is there a Creole language and lineage, a Creole lineage in Haiti? And I explained to you about that just a few minutes ago, right? Yes, Haiti has both a Creole language and a Creole lineage. Here's how that works. The Creole language in Haiti is called Creole, Kreyol, right? That's the native language of about 95% of Haitians speak. By the way, they speak another language in Haiti, which I don't know about. All I know about is the Creole language, all right? I didn't look it up. I forgot to look it up. But 95% of Haitians speak Creole. It developed during the French colonial period when enslaved Africans blended French vocabulary with elements of West and African Central languages, okay? Along with influences from the Tiano. the island's original people, and even some Spanish and Portuguese. Okay. Haitian Creole is not a dialect of French. It's its own fully developed language. That's why it's a Creole language. Okay. And it's one of Haiti's two official languages alongside French. Okay. So there's another language. I didn't look up what they speak. Maybe at the end I'll ask what other language they speak. Creole lineage in Haiti, ancestry and identity. The word Creole in Haiti historically referred to people born in a colony, especially of African descent, who were born in Saint Domingo colony of, the Haitian colony rather than Africa. Okay. Okay, so over time, Creole came to describe a local Haitian identity, blending African ancestry majority, European ancestry from the colonizers, and freed Europe from the colonizer and freed color people, free people of color, and native Tiano. Okay, so that's the Creole people of Haiti. They have a mixture. All right. In colonial times, there was a distinct class of gens de couleur libres, that's French, meaning free people of color, who were often mixed race and Creole born. Many of them became educated landowners and even played leadership roles in the Haitian Revolution. Okay. All right. In summary, language Haitian Creole is the national language of Haiti, rooted in French, African language, and local influences. The lineage, the Haitian population has a Creole heritage, meaning a mixture of African origins, primarily with some European and traces of Tiano ancestry. Okay? All right. Then I asked GPT Chat, are there Haitians with no French and native mixture? Yes, the majority of Haitians are primarily of African descent, with little or no French or European ancestry in their lineage. Do you hear this? Here's why. Haitian population origins. Haiti's population is mostly descended from enslaved Africans brought from the West and Central Africa during the French colonial period. After the Haitian Revolution, 1791 to 1804, the colonial ruling class, mostly French Europeans and mixed race elites. So the French and their mixed race children fled after the war. They fled, well, not after, but during. They fled or were expelled, leaving behind a majority of Black African descended population. Now, do you understand when I say Haitian Creole and African Creole? There you have it. All right. Most Haitians today are not racially mixed. They are predominantly of African lineage, especially in rural areas and among the general population. Now, we understand that Haiti holds more African tradition. I don't know about South Americans and all of that, but so far, Haiti isn't a heavily mixed population of African descendants from slavery. They hold more of the culture of African in the lineage. 90% African descent. Okay. All right. So let's move along. Mixture in Haiti. How common is it? Okay, so predominantly African descent Haitians is 80 to 90%. Wait a minute, I'm reading it wrong. Okay, the group is African Haitians, and they have 80 to 90% African lineage. Okay. No known French or European ancestry, mostly West and Central African roots. And that's what Dollar Bill would always be claiming. We 80 to 90% African. No, sir. Maybe in the Caribs and in Haiti. Sure. Not in America. We're not the same. How many times do we have to express that? Same thing goes for South America. Afro Ecuadorians, Afro Mexicans. You can't deny the mixture in those people. It is what it is. Hey, they may be from Haiti or the Caribs and they think, oh, it's the same. No, it's not the same, darling. All right, mixed race Malay trace, which is mulatto. There were, let me see, the mixed race Haitians. I mean, African and French European ancestry, historically part of the elite. They have 5 to 10% African. I'm kind of confused on this reading right here. Let me push down on this. So, yes, most Haitians do not have French or European bloodline, despite the country's French colonial history and French influences, language and influences. Why the language is French based on the people are okay, why the language is French based, but the people are African? We know why, right? The language Haitian Creole was created as a tool for communication between enslaved Africans and French colonizers. Okay. I ain't gonna read the rest because that's all you need to know. Creole language equal mixed ancestry. Um, we already read that. Yes, many Haitians, especially in rural areas and general population, have no known French or European mixture and are most entirely of African descent. We got it. We can move on. So my next question to Chat GPT was, yes, how did the Haitians become mixed with Arab and Jews? Okay, because there's a Creole population in Haiti that has Arab and Jewish Creoles there. Okay, and they run everything. Now, the Creoles in Haiti consider themselves elite, the elite societies. Okay, the Haitian Creoles, the Arab Creoles, the Jew Creoles, they all consider themselves the elites of Haiti. And we're going to see how does it fit with the African Haitians there and what they play, how they stand in it. Okay. All right, reading along. So I asked GBT chat, how did Haitians become mixed with Arab and Jews? How did the Creole come about? Great question. The Arab and Jewish presence in Haiti mostly came after the Haitian Revolution during the 19th and early 20th centuries, not during slavery. Okay. Did you hear that? It came after the Haitian Revolution during the 19th and 20th century, not during slavery. All right. So, about the Arab Haitians, how they arrived. Starting in the late 1800s, Lebanese, Syrian, and Palestinian immigrants, many of them Christian Arabs, came to Haiti fleeing poverty, Ottoman oppression, and wars in the Middle East. So these Arabs and stuff, they from the Middle East, they fled to Haiti for refugee. Okay, they were often called Syrians by locals, even if they were from Lebanon, or Palestine. Okay, most Arabs in Haiti became merchants, traders, and shopkeepers, especially in Port-au-Prince, Cape Haiti, Jacmel, and Les Canes. Okay, they often married into Haitian families, leading to mixed Arab Haitian descendants. So that's how the Creole Arabs, I mean, the Creole Arab Haitians came about. Okay. You got the French and half Haitian Creoles. You got the Arab and half Haitian Creoles, and you have the Jewish and half Haitian Creoles. All of the Creoles are considered elite of Haiti, and they run the country. Basically, they dominate all aspects of the country. Let's continue to read. Where are they now? I ask. Many Arab Haitians are part of Haiti's economic elite today. Families like the Handels, Abadulas, Netters, Accra, and Bassoons are well known in business, commerce, and politics. They typically live in urban areas, especially Port-au-Prince and coastal cities. Okay. All right, let's move into the Jew Haitians. Okay, the Creoles, the Jewish Haitian Creoles. How did they arrive in Haiti? There were some Sephoric Jews in colonial Saint Domingo, but most left or assimilated after the revolution. Okay. In the 20th century, especially during World War II, Haiti issued temporary visas to Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi Europe. A small number of Jewish families stayed and became part of the Haitian elite. But many later years, I'm sorry, but many, yeah, that's right, but many later immigrated to the US, Canada, or Israel. Where are they now? Today, the Jewish population in Haiti is very small, almost non existent as a distinct community. Let me back this up a second. Okay. As a distinct community, a few Haitians of Jewish ancestry, a few Haitians of Jewish ancestry, usually, Jewish ancestry remain usually well assimilated into society. Some families may still carry Jewish surnames, but I'm sorry, but active Jewish religious life is minimal. Okay, so we have a few Jewish Haitian Creoles there. All right, which I told you I read about how the people ended up in Haiti. Okay, are Haitians of Arab and Jewish ancestry considered Creole? Yes. Culturally, they are considered Haitian Creole, even if they have different ethnic roots. So, within a Haitian Creole population of Haiti, some of the Creoles are half Haitian and Arab, half Haitian and Jewish, or half Haitian and French. Okay. But they call all of them Haitian Creole. All right. So many Arab Haitians speak Creole, practice Catholicism or sometimes Islam or Orthodox Christianity, and fully identify with Haitian culture. I didn't know Haitians was Catholic or Islam or Orthodox Christianity. Okay. Anyways, but those Creoles identify with the culture, even though they may have a different religious belief. All right, so let's move along. Today, the Arab Haitians, they are business, they dominate the business class, urban areas like Port-au-Prince. The Jewish Haitians mostly assimilated small elite, they mostly assimilated, they have a small elite presence, or many of them immigrated, okay? So they give a list of the African Haitians, the main African roots of Haitians. Haitians, they tell where the African Haitians come from. The African Haitians come from the Congo, Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Benin, Togo, Nigeria, Some of them are Yoruba and Igbo peoples. Interesting. The Mandika and Mandi, Mali, Guinea, Senegal, pretty much a lot of them from different parts of Africa they brought to Haiti. Okay. Haiti is filled with different 90% of different kinds of Africans. Okay. All right, let's move along. They're talking about the African Haitian lineage in Africa, where they come from in Africa. So do you see why Principe would identify with Africans? Because he is African. Haitians are Africans. Majority of Haitians are African descended people. And that is why he identified with Africans, because they are African. There's a Haitian that used to come on College Channel. I don't know if he come on it anymore. But he always talk about he Hausa and he this and that, some type of African or whatever. And he's highly correct. Haitians are Africans. Okay. They are African descent. Their bloodline isn't heavily mixed at all. Now they have the Creole Haitians who are mixture of people. But majority of the Haitians in Haiti, 90% of them are of African descent. Straight, they can trace their lineage straight back to Africa. Now again, they're all mixed up, different tribes of Africans, so I don't know how they're going to be able to pinpoint their tribe, because all of the tribes are mixed up. They sent people from all different parts of Africa to Haiti, so they would never be able to pinpoint their direct tribe in Africa. But they are descendants. African Haitians are descendants of Africa. They straight up African. Okay. And you can check that on Chat GPT. This is why they identify closely with Africans, because again, they are full blood Africans, basically. Okay. Majority of Haitians are full blood African in Haiti. Okay. All right. So after the war, like I read, after the war broke out, the Frenchmen took the Haitian Creoles and fled to Louisiana and other parts of the world. Okay, mostly Louisiana. Okay, all right. So we learned some things. There's Arab Haitian, Jewish Haitian, French Haitian, and they all called Creole Haitian. Okay, and I told y'all how the Jews and the Arabs got there, and we talked about how majority of the Haitians are 90% full blood, basically full blood, not 90%, but 90% of the Haitians there are full African blooded people. And it's a bunch of different tribes of Africans that was brought there, like from all different parts of Africa, different African countries. So they could never really pinpoint their tribe. Okay, it's rolling into 2 hours. I don't want it to really go over 2 hours and I'm already behind. So let me go a little faster. All right. Yeah, so most Haitians are descendants of enslaved people from Central and West Africa, especially Congo, Fon, Yoruba, and Igbo groups with cultural legacies still alive today in voodoo, the language, music, and food. So the Haitian culture is pretty much African culture, a mixture of all the different African countries that they were taken from. Okay. Haitian culture is straight up African culture. All right. And the descendants of slaves over there, straight up African. All right. So let's go further. And they list some words and stuff. We don't need to read this. They talk about the different kind of foods that the Haitians eat. And basically, it's African food dishes and stuff because, once again, they're African. All right. African music and rhythms, once again, they're African. Haitian culture is deeply African, it says. In its language, religion, music, food, and social customs, many everyday practices in Haiti today trace directly back to the Fon Congo, Yoruba, and other African people brought to the island centuries ago. Once again, Haitians are 90% of Haitians that was enslaved in Haiti are full blood African. Okay, we got that understanding. When the war took place, the Frenchmen and their Creole Haitians fled the country, leaving behind all of the African Haitians. You get it? All right, let's move along. I asked, was Haiti always poor? And how did they become poor if they were poor? And I wanted to know also, are there any immigrants thriving in the country today? So it says, was Haiti always poor? No. Haiti was all no, Haiti was not always poor. At one point, Haiti was the richest colony in the world, known as the Pearl of the Antilles, because of its massive wealth from sugar, coffee, and indigo production. The wealth was built on the backs of enslaved Africans under brutal French rule. Remember, the French had put their Creole children in charge of everything, okay? Okay, read along. How did Haiti become poor then? The cost of independence in 1804. After the Haitian Revolution, France demanded reparations. Do you hear this, people? Haiti had to pay reparations to France. Listen, after the war, they had to in turn pay France because France was threatening to come back and invade them, reinvade them, and take whatever because they was like, give us our money or we coming back. And the Haitians paid up. Okay, let's read about it though. So after the Haitian Revolution, France demanded. So black people is not the first people to demand reparations, okay? After the Haitian Revolution, France demanded reparations from Haiti in 1825 to compensate for lost property, meaning enslaved people and plantations. Haiti had to pay France 150 million gold francs, later reduced to 90 million, right? But listen, which would be billions in today's money. This action forced Haiti into international debt, borrowing from French banks and crippling the economy for over a century. After Haiti's independence, the US and European powers refused to recognize it for decades, fearing it would inspire slave revolts everywhere. Trade embargoes cut Haiti off from the global economy. So after the war, they wanted independence, but the trade was cut off. Nobody was effing with them, of course, because now it's independent and it's Haitian run and owned. It has nothing to do with Europe. And so they were cut off from trade. And the Frenchman was demanding that they pay. Are they gonna are they gonna reinvade Haiti? Of course, Haiti agreed to pay. The Haitians agreed to pay, okay? So let's read on. Political instability and dictatorship. Repeated coups, corruption, and dictatorships, especially under Franco Dulaver, aka Papa Doc, and his son Baby Doc Dulaver, drained national wealth and created a weak political system. So these were dictators that was put in charge of Haiti. The Dulaver regime stole hundreds of millions of dollars from Haiti. So Haiti had a corrupt leader, I guess. Natural disasters like earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods have destroyed the infrastructure and made recovery difficult. In 2010, earthquake killed over 200,000 people and caused billions in damage. Dang. I didn't know it was that many people. Exploitation by foreign powers and NGOs. NGOs is like government agencies. Foreign interference, poorly managed foreign aid, and reliance on NGOs created a cycle of dependency, often without solving the root problems. So Haiti was dependent on US aid as well. Is Haiti poor today? I ask. Yes, Haiti is currently the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Ooh, and Trump is about to send them back. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Dang. That's tough. About 60% of Haitians live below the poverty line. Many lack access to healthcare, clean water, and stable jobs. Gang violence and political instability in recent years, 2021 through 2025, have worsened the conditions. All right. Reading further, are there immigrants thriving in Haiti today? I wanted to know. Yes. GPT chat says yes. Despite poverty, some immigrant groups thrive in Haiti, especially in business and trade. What? Despite poverty, some immigrant groups thrive in Haiti, especially in business and trade. Wow. Okay, let's continue to read. Successful immigrant communities. One group is the Arab Haitians, they Lebanese, Syrian, and Palestinian. They control major parts of Haiti's commerce, import export businesses, supermarkets, and construction companies. Many are part of the elite class in Haiti today. Dominicans. Some run small businesses or work in construction, not usually wealthy, but active in trade. And then you have the Jewish Haitians. A few of them remain, but the families of these people are involved in business and property management, but most have left. Chinese and Indian business owners, small but growing presence in retail and trade, especially in Port-au-Prince. Wow. Okay. NGO workers and aid professionals. Many foreign workers live relatively well, though their presence is controversial because they often earn far more than the locals. All right. So, in summary, Haiti was once the richest colony but became poor due to forced debt, foreign exploitation, political instability, and disasters. Yes, Haiti is still poor today, but certain immigrant communities, especially Arab Haitians, control much of the business sector and are financially successful there. All right. So, um, so the next thing is I asked who is the Duvalier regime? The dictators, the dad, Papa Baby Doc and Papa Doc and Baby Doc. They were dictators of Haiti and they had a regime. So I wanted to know what does this mean? So who were the Dulivers? The Dulivers regime refers to Franco's Papa Doc Duliver and his son, Baby Doc, who ruled Haiti as dictators from 1957 to 1986. Okay. The dad was a medical doctor and a public health worker. He came to power in 1957, but quickly became a dictator. His rule, he used fear, During his rule, voodoo symbolism and violence to control the population. He portrayed himself as a mystical leader connected to African and voodoo traditions to intimidate his enemies. The Tonton Makutis or something like that he created a brutal secret police force called the Tonton Makuta who murdered and terrorized opponents. Corruption. Um, he was accused of stealing millions of dollars from Haiti. The economy worsened under his rule, it says. And then he died in 1971, named his son as successor. So his son became the president for life at the age of 19. Under his rule, he continued his father's dictatorship, but was less politically active, focusing more on luxury living. His regime was still violent and corrupt. And then it says he concerning corruption, he embezzled hundreds of millions of dollars, keeping Haiti in poverty while he and his circle got richer. And lifestyle, it says, known for lavish spending while the people suffered, his wife, Michelle Bennett, lived like a celebrity. He was overthrown, forced into exile in 1986 after a massive protest and uprising. He fled to France. Okay. So the legacy that the two left behind, excuse me, was the legacy and impact was thousands of Haitians were killed or disappeared. Haiti's economy collapsed under theft, mismanagement, and foreign debt. Many Haitians fled the country during this time. The Tonton Makuta created a climate of terror that still affects Haiti's politics today. All right, so that was about the Dulavar regime from 1957 to 86, and Haiti under the Haiti rule, they were considered dictators. Okay. All right. So I wanted to know, are there any African descent Haitians that's educated and thriving in Haiti as a collective? Any groups? And it says, yes, there are many Haitians of African descent who are educated and thriving, both inside Haiti and abroad. However, the success stories are often individual achievements, not a reflection of widespread economic progress because of Haiti's deep systematic problems. Okay. Educated and thriving Haitians of African descent, some Black Haitians have risen to success to become doctors and lawyers and teachers and engineers and stuff like that. But in Haiti, but success in Haiti is often tied to access to private education or foreign study in France, Canada, or the US. You have to have connections to elite social networks to thrive. And working in specialized fields like medicine, law, or business, it is the best way to go. Okay, so they named some people that's of Haiti, of African Haitian descent, that's doing well today. And the first one on the list is Wyclef Jean. He's a Gra- he's a Grammy-winning musician, humanitarian. Michelle Jean, former Governor General of Canada, and she was born in Haiti. Gary Canelli, current Haitian Prime Minister as of 2024, and he is a medical doctor. Edwidge Danticat, award-winning Haitian American author, and Dr. Jean William Bill Pappy, Pap, renowned Haitian doctor and public health leader. Okay. In the Haitian diaspora, US, Canada, and France, they have successful Haitians, they say. So it says, despite the success stories that majority of Haitians, even educated ones, still struggle, they still struggle today because lack of jobs in Haiti, poor infrastructure and public service, political instability and corruption, social class divides, a small wealthy elite controls most of the economy. Is race a factor in Haiti and a Haitian success? African Haitian success, of course, okay? Yes and no. Haiti is a black republic, so most leaders are of African descent, but class matters more than race in modern Haiti. The elite class, which is black mixed race and Arab Haitians, often control wealth and opportunities, while poor black Haitians remain marginalized. Some black Haitians break into the elite through education, politics, or international connections, but it's not easy, and the system often favors the wealthy. All right. So then I wanted to know about their prison systems. Are there many incarcerated Haitians, African Haitians? So it says, yes, Haiti has a serious prison crisis. Many Haitians are incarcerated, but most are not even convicted of a crime. Incarcerated, but not convicted of a crime. Hmm. The key factors about incarceration in Haiti. Number one, overcrowding. Haiti's prisons are among the most overcrowded in the world. Some prisons are at 400% capacity or more. Inmates are often crammed into tiny cells with little space to sleep or move. Pretrial detention crisis. About 80 to 85% of Haitian prisoners are in pretrial detention. This means they are in jail without being formally charged or tried. Oof. Some prisoners wait for years without ever going to court. Even people accused of minor crimes like theft may stay in jail indefinitely because the legal system is broken. Poor conditions. Of course, it's prison like basic sanitation, medical care, and food. Diseases like tuberculosis, scabies, and uh, malnutrition are common. Okay. And deaths in custody are frequently due to starvation, lack of medicine, and inhumane conditions. Political instability makes it worse. Since the assassination of President Moise in 2021 and the rise of gang violence, the prison system has become even more chaotic. All right. And then it said prisons are sometimes attacked by gangs and they break into the prisons and stuff like that. Okay. Like 400 prisoners escaped from Court d'Ivoire prison after a gang raid. All right. And who are in prison? Poor Black Haitians with no access to lawyers or legal support, often for petty crimes, but trapped in jail due to system failure. Some are gang members, but many are ordinary people caught in the system. All right. Okay. So that was the readings about Haiti. I wanted you to understand something that even though they had won their independence, when they won their independence, everything was cut off from them. They were like on their own completely. Okay. They were completely on their own. The country went into ruins immediately. The wealthy people fled. A lot of the wealthy people fled, but after the war, some of them came back and continued, their businesses. But majority of the wealthy people fled. The Creoles definitely fled because they was, off of them. Um, and like I said, went into ruins. The person that they put in charge became a dictator and pretty much just, like a lot of African countries, just mismanaged U.S. Uh, foreign aid. So they was getting assistance now, but they didn't manage it properly. So even though they trade and all that had been cut off, they were getting assistance, foreign aid from somewhere, which was mismanaged. And again, the country was run by dictators for a long time and stuff like that. The elite society of Haiti, which is the Creole Haitians, basically dominated Haiti even to this day. They dominate Haiti. So Haiti has a system that makes it very hard for African descent Haitians to thrive because the society is set up to benefit only the Creole population. Some of them break in. When I say break in, I don't mean like, some of them get in by getting educated, getting some type of education, but still not to the point where they're thriving. And it's very much, on an individual basis, like it's not collective at all. So a few of them, okay, they incarcerate a lot of people for petty stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back there either. Okay. So we learned something about Haiti. Okay, now you know what I mean when I say a Haitian Creole or a Creole Haitian versus an African Haitian. Okay. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in and listening. Hit the thumbs up, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the commentary. It's not to offend anyone, but it's to speak truth to lies. Okay. Thank you for tuning in and listening to Miss Chantell. Have a good night.